We're off and running.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Dylan Pollock at National Mortgage Professional Magazine, and I want to welcome you to our webinar titled How to Deliver the Ultimate Agent Presentation. This is sponsored and presented by Ron Vainberg International and NMP University. So for those of you who haven't heard, Ron Vainberg International and NMP have joined to form NMP University, and the hope is that this partnership is going to provide higher level training and greater service resources for originators to be able to succeed often. And I want to also just thank everybody for taking the time out of their busy days for this valuable and informative webinar and our ongoing series, and look forward to more NMP University webinars. So today's webinar is going to be conducted by Ron Vainberg, and Ron's a veteran of the real estate and mortgage industry since 1983. As a leading speaker, trainer, and strategic coach, Ron possesses a unique ability to quickly assess any business challenge and provide instant solutions that are simple and provide significant growth. Ron approaches coaching and training with a singular belief. When you know what to say verbally or in writing, how to say it, and when to say it, exponential growth of your business can happen quicker than you ever imagined. Clients that work with Ron and follow his guidance often experience business growth of 25% or more within weeks of starting with him. Success does not have to take a long time. You just need to know what shortcuts to success, and that's what Ron can provide to you. Ron works with retail and wholesale mortgage professionals, mortgage company owners, and real estate agents, as well as brokers throughout the United States. We're going to answer a few questions at the end of the webinar with time permitting. And without any further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Ron Vainberg.
Great, Dylan. Thanks for the introduction. And for those, because you're able to see me on camera, you might see a little smile on my face. One of my coaching clients actually sent me a message through the system. He's questioning the Dolphin jersey behind me, and he said, Ron, he thought I lived in the Bronx, so he's like, he can't understand why I have a Dolphin jersey. Bill, I'll address that with you next time we talk, but thank you for bringing that up, and I'm not from the Bronx, so let's just be clear on that. I want to welcome all of you to How to Deliver the Ultimate Agent Presentation. What this program is about today, it's about mastering the ability to captivate and develop relationships with agents quickly. And so I've got a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So my goal is to give you as much as possible. A few of you also had sent in messages to me previous to getting started about asking if a copy was going to be available. Yes, within the next day or so, you're going to receive another email from us letting you know where you can receive a copy of the PowerPoint slides and also be able to view online this webinar again if you want to be able to take more notes. And that's something that's very important. You're going to want to take notes today on this webinar because there's going to be a lot that's going to be coming at you. So there was a previous webinar, it was about 2 weeks ago, that whole webinar was designed to teach you how to get the attention of agents. So this is really, think of this as like a two-part program that work independently but together, or presented independently but work together. The last one was how you get the attention of agents, how to get the attention of decision makers, how to get more business from your existing relationships. These were all the things that were covered in the last webinar, and how to stand out from others that are vying for the same business as you. Well, what we're going to be accomplishing today is how to deliver a high impact, compelling presentation to an agent so they want to do business with you. And the good news is, believe it or not, it's easier than you may think. So my whole goal in everything that I do is I try to make things very, very simple. So I'm going to show you how we do that, and I'm going to show you how to overcome the most common challenges of what agents will say to you that often stymie or prevent loan officers from moving forward. I'm going to show you how to uncover your prospect being the agent, their most important needs and values. So with that, I want to start off with our first, a quick polling question. And this question is, when it comes to working and developing a relationship with agents, do you have a clearly defined presentation, or, and be honest, do you wing it? Do you have a really clearly defined plan for presenting, or do you just wing it when you do your presentation? So launch the poll. Got a lot of votes coming in. We have almost 1,000 people on this webinar right now. So I'm very excited that we got such a turnout. It's telling me this is just such an incredible topic. So very excited that we have so many people on this webinar attending today. So I encourage you to engage, vote, put your 2 cents in as far as giving the responses because it makes you part of the program. Dylan, right now we're up to 61%, so we'll give it about another 10 seconds and we'll close it out. And we're just about at 70%. You know, I always joke in my seminars when I ask questions, I say, how many of you will never answer any of my questions no matter what I ask? And then I get everybody's hand to go up that didn't raise their hand for anything else. So I'm hoping, you know, there's certain people that are on the webinar that no matter what will never answer the question. So I just want to let you know that we're going to close it out at 70%. I'm going to close it out right now. So what we have is, well, 70% of you are winging it, and 30% of you have a clearly defined plan. And that's about normal. I'll say usually winging it runs about 75 to 77%, but we're still going to be in that ballpark. And what happens is when you wing your presentation, you actually get rewarded for it sometimes. What happens is you wing the presentation, you make a sale, a realtor starts doing business with you, they start connecting with you, so it almost reinforces in your head that you should continue with this behavior. Well, what this is about today is about really showing you simple ways that you can do something. It's no longer winging it. It's a consistent way of doing it. There's a methodology to making it happen over and over and over, and it's duplicatable. First thing I want to start with is what is the mindset of your prospects? Well, one, they're busy. The agents are busy, and even if they're not busy, they're going to tell you they're busy. So I'm just talking about mindset. And by the way, even if they're not busy and they tell you they're busy, it could be because in their mind they are busy. Busy with doing what? It could be a lot of things that are not productive, but they're still busy. Some people will just tell you they're busy because it's just a knee-jerk reaction. They don't want to learn or try anything new. And I'm going to go into this a little bit deeper in just a minute. Fear of change or the unknown. If you're approaching an agent, you're an unknown. And there is a fear of change. And change can be in many forms. One change could be is that they're working with someone, so you're an unknown, so there's a fear of changing to you because they're putting their business at risk. It could be an agent who's not even used to controlling their prospects, and it's the fear of now starting to try and take control of their prospects so they can refer people to you. You know, just like 70% of us here are using a winged presentation, the numbers for real estate agents when they're working with buyers is probably about 70 to 80% also. It's not probably, I work with agents as well, so I know that 75 to 80% of agents also wing their presentations with their clients. They don't take control, they don't direct, they basically are very passive in how they work with buyers. They let the buyers control everything because they have a fear of losing them to another real estate professional. So there's a lot of fear about change in the unknown that exists in the mind of your prospect, which is the agent. Broken promises in the past. You've got to understand something. No loan officer meets a realtor for the first time and says, look, my service stinks, but give me a try anyway. They make promises. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. The agents have heard it all and they're now jaded. They don't believe what you're going to tell them because they've been lied to before. And understandably, a loan officer has to sell the sizzle even if the steak behind them is crap. So what I want you to understand is that it's not that they don't want to trust you. It's just they're afraid to trust you because of someone before you has ruined it for you. And they don't feel that they need anything more. They feel that their needs are already being met. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the mindset of your prospect, the mindset of your targeted realtor that you need to get past. And we're going to do all of that in this program today. This is the agent's world. All of these yellow dots are everything that they've got going on, both business and personal. So what happens is you reach out to them, and if you're not using any of the strategies that I presented in the previous webinar, hopefully you have some things that are helping you get their attention. But They have all of this going on in their world, and we cannot judge how busy they are or whether or not it's legitimate, all these things that they have. But here we are. We appear and we want to get into their world. So the agent is faced with a choice. The choice is they could try to cram you into all of this, but if they're already under the belief that they're full, that their water glass is full and they can't put any more water in it, well, they're going to not want to let you in. The second option is to take something they already have, which could be another lender, and move them out to make room for you. But that's a thought process, and there's fear and all the other things that I just talked about. So what's the easiest thing for them to do? Is just not let you in. That is the easiest thing for an agent to do to keep you out. And the way they do that is two very simple statements, which I'm going to address later in the program, but I'll tell you what those statements are now. The first statement is, I already have a loan officer I'm working with. The other one is, I only do listings. Actually, there's a third one. It's not as common anymore, where they always used to say, we have an in-house lender. And the irony of it is that in-house lenders, when, before all the stuff with MSAs came out as to whether or not they're allowed, is they would say, I have an in-house lender, yet less, on average, it's about 20 to 21% of the transactions that go through a real estate office actually go through on the buyer side with the in-house lender. But they know, agents know, that if they tell you they already have someone they're working with, they have an in-house lender, or they just do listings, they know it can get rid of you very, very easily. I work with agents. I always ask in my big presentations to them, I say, let me ask you a question. I go, why do you always tell loan officers this, this, or this? And they laugh and they say, because it's the easiest way to get rid of them. And that's the universal response, even though with most of them it's not true. So I want you to understand that you're getting a lot of fluff, you're getting a lot of BS when they're blowing you off, and I'm going to show you how to just move right past that. Very quickly, what are the most common mistakes that LOs make when they're presenting? Now, I'm using the word presentation here. People think presentation is in front of 10, 20, 30 people. It could be that. It could be in front of 1,000 people. I'm doing a presentation right now, and if I was talking to you one-on-one and trying to influence you to do business with me, that's also a presentation. So these are the most common mistakes that loan officers make when they're presenting. One, they lack a structured presentation. We already addressed that. We know that at least 70% of you are winging it on a consistent basis. Most of us, when we present, we kind of do the dump and run. The dump and run is we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And that is primarily, it's product and logic based. We are primarily focused on telling them what we can do. And that is product and logic based. And I'm going to show you that that actually works against you, not for you. We don't ask enough of questions. Again, I just gave you the example. I said, I called it the dump and run, or what we do is we show up and throw up. Hope some of you haven't eaten lunch and had that visual of that now. I apologize for that. But what we do is we don't ask questions. We just keep talking. In fact, one of the things that I often ask in group presentations, I'll ask it now, is I'll say, here's just a simple question. Have you ever been in a conversation or a presentation, you're talking too much and you don't know how to stop? Now, I know that a lot of you are sitting there shaking your head or at least acknowledging in your mind that you have been in that position. It's a very, very common problem. And the reason why that happens is because you don't ask enough questions. Again, we're going to take care of that. We don't ask the right questions. We're not prepared for objections. We use the wrong words over and over and over again. One of the worst words you can use in your presentation is the word service. I told you before, nobody's going into a realtor and telling them that their service is going to be bad. They're not going to say my service sucks or my service stinks. They're going to say my service is going to be great. The word service, one, is abused by us. Often it's not delivered upon, and your definition of service and my definition of service and the realtor's definition of service, all of them can be different. They can all be different. So the word service is just way too general. Again, I'm going to show you how to get past this in just a moment. The next thing we've got to do before we get into the presentation is you have to understand the decision to buy. Now you're saying, buy? What are you talking about? Well, we're talking about them buying you, wanting to do business with you. We talked before that most presentations are logic-based, product, pricing, systems, things of that nature. However, decisions, remember we were talking about fear before, decisions are usually made emotionally. Then we justify our decisions with logic. We're going to reverse your presentation. We're not going to start you with logic. We're going to start you with emotion in working with the realtor, because you know what? They're going to make a decision to do business with you emotionally, and then they're going to just justify that decision with logic. So we have to reverse what most people are doing. And the reason why we can't get the attention of a lot of agents, or we can't keep the attention, or we have a meeting with them and they just give us a lot of head nodding, yeah, and then nothing happens after that initial meeting, is because it was just a mirage. Nothing really happened there because you never really got them to make that emotional shift where they'd want to do business with you. So right now you're probably sitting, if you don't have any idea where I'm going with this, you're saying, wow, this is a lot. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. Have faith. I'm going to show you with just some very simple strategic questions how you can begin to build these emotional relationships to get them to shift over to want to do business with you. Another quick polling question. I'm going to run this real quick. I want you to think about your current presentation, the way I've kind of outlined this as far as logic versus emotion. And the question I want you to answer is, the presentation that you typically do, is it based around product, service, and systems? And is it primarily logic-based, or is it primarily emotion-based? Yeah, and these numbers are coming in right on target. We got a lot of people voting. Let's take 10 more seconds, because again, we're really, we are pressed for time. I want to give you as much as I possibly can in the time we've got allotted, and I want to make sure that I have time to get at least to some of the questions. Some of the questions, by the way, are going through our system to Dylan, and he's going to read them to me later. There's some that are coming through on my system. I can't look at them during the presentation. So we'll see, try to get to as many as we possibly can. Okay, let me close this out, and I'll share this with you. And what we have is 73% logic-based, 27% emotion-based. Pretty much normal. What will probably happen is some of you that have select that you are more emotion-based, when I start showing you or presenting some of the questions that I use, you might actually change your answer and realize that you might be a little bit more logic-based than you might have actually thought. So again, we're not going to re-poll that later. I just want you to stay open to making these shifts and changes in the way you may do things. Okay, so let's talk about delivering the ultimate agent what I call the ultimate agent presentation. One more question. This is a very important question to ask. Okay, I promise you it's the last one too. You'll like this question though. Have you ever had an agent say to you this? I'm already working with something. I'm already working with another lender. Okay. I'm looking at the percentages here. This is comical. Okay. This was pretty much a loaded question. I knew what the answer was going to be. Okay, I'll close this out because it's basically not changing. And here's your answer. 98% of you said that you've had an agent say this to you. And I will tell you that they are saying this to you to get rid of you. Even if they're working with somebody and it's true, they're still saying it to get rid of you. I thought about adding another poll question, but I thought best to leave it off. And that poll question would have been, how many of you would like to choke the realtor when they say this to you? And I'm sure that probably would have been about 100% of you. But I figured, let me just not make that official. Don't want that on an official recording, so left that off. Okay. Step one in the ultimate agent presentation is you have to break their pattern. Remember, they're trying to get rid of you. So when an agent says to you, I'm already working with someone, instead of getting anxiety, by the way, this is what most loan officers do. And I'm not calling you dumb if you do this. I'm telling you it's a dumb thing to do. What a lot of loan officers will do when the agent says, I'm already working with someone, you relegate yourself to the backup. You relegate yourself to second position. And you'll say something like this. You'll say, I understand. Well, if there's something that they can't do or there's a problem on a deal, reach out to me and let me see if I could help you. That's like asking them to take out the garbage because that's what they're going to give you. They're only going to call you when there's an emergency, when the you know what's hitting the fan. That's when they're going to reach out to you. And I've had some loan officers give pushback and they'll say, yeah, but if I make that deal happen, then I can win them over. And I've had loan officers say, I've made that deal happen and I've won them over. I'm not arguing that. But the chances or the odds on you being able to do a deal that their go-to person can't do is pretty slim. So you're setting yourself up for more than likely being in a bad position. So I want you to understand that although it could work, it's not advisable to do it that way. But here's what I talk about breaking their pattern. You cannot accept their attempt to get rid of you. I'm going to show you how to do that. You've got to say something that they don't expect to hear. And then you're going to roll right into your presentation. Let me show you what that looks like. An agent says to you, I'm already working with someone. Your response is simply this. I am Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, I am so glad you said that. You may not be aware of this, but every single top agent I work with today said exactly the same thing the first time I met them. May I ask you a question? That's rolling right into your presentation. I'll say that again. They say to you, I'm already working with someone. You say, that is great. I am so glad you told me that. You may not be aware of this, but every top agent I work with today said exactly the same thing when I met them the first time. May I ask you a question? The agent is not ready for that response. They're trying to get rid of you. And I have a very simple philosophy. If somebody's trying to get rid of me, I've got nothing to lose. Because if I let them get rid of me, I'm still sitting at zero. So if I go for it, I can only go up from zero. And believe it or not, most of the time, they're going to say sure. Because here's the thing. We're programmed when people ask us, can I ask you a question? We are conditioned to say yes to that. Think about it. When anybody says, can I ask you a question? You always look at them like yes. How often do you say no? You can't. We're not programmed that way. So what I'm using is I'm using basic human psychology, basic human emotion that is it's working right in line with what we do every single day. So don't accept their attempt to get rid of you and just roll right into your questions. So you're probably saying, well, what are the rest of the questions? We're going there. But I just wanted you to understand that you've got to break this pattern. If you don't break the pattern, you've got nothing. You've got to break the pattern, and what I just gave you will break the pattern just about every single time. So what do we got to do? We've got to find their pain. So here are some examples of questions that you can ask them. Say, what are things that frustrate you the most working with loan officers or lenders? Remember, we're rolled right into, and you could even say to them, so after you've said to them, all the top producers I work with said the same thing the first time I met with them, may I ask you a question? And they say yes. Say, I just want to, just out of curiosity, what are the things that frustrate you the most working with loan officers and lenders? Once you start getting into a pattern of asking questions, you are in control. Here's another question. Before we get started, Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, before we get started, of the lenders you currently work with, if there's one thing you wish they could do or do better, what would it be? So you can say something, look, you already told me you have a lender that you work with. I understand that. of the lenders that you work with or loan officers you work with. If there was one thing you wish they could do or do better, what would it be? There's always something. There's always something. Unless you have no rapport with the person, so you didn't make any small talk in the beginning of the presentation or anything. And remember, let me just time out here for a second. I want you to understand that you didn't just walk into a realtor's office and start doing this presentation. You did what I taught in the last webinar to set an appointment with them. So you did some really creative things that I taught you in the last webinar to get that appointment with the agent. Now you've got the appointment and you're sitting face to face with them. If they're sitting face to face with you, they're going to be more polite than if you just rudely interrupted them. So I want you to understand that I don't believe in just going and knocking on realtors' doors and saying, hey, I'm here, can I talk to you? Does it work? Yeah, it's not my style. It's never been my style. And I don't teach that because I'm a lot more strategic in how I go about developing relationships. So here are two simple things on how you roll into finding their pain. Now, I'm going to give you what I call a ninja strategy. This is a ninja strategy which is so powerful and they don't even know what happened. They being the realtor. Listen to this question. What I'll say to the realtor, again, rolling into the presentation, I'll say to the realtor, can I ask you a question? Whether it's your loan officer that you like and your lender that you already like and work with, or on a transaction that the borrower is using an outside lender or loan officer that you have no relationship with or no control over, what are the things that you hate most that happen? I'll say that again. Whether it's working with your loan officer or your lender or on a transaction that is being done by a loan officer that you have no relationship with, no control over the transaction, no dialogue with them, what are the things that you hate most? Now, let me explain to you what we just did, and the realtor doesn't know this. When they answer that question, and they will, because every realtor has a bad experience with a lender that they don't have a relationship with that. You know that, I know that, we all know that. What the realtor doesn't realize is the moment they answer that question, they subconsciously linked their loan officer to the problem. They answer that question because I basically separated and then coupled them together. When they answer that question, they don't protect their loan officer anymore. They answer the question because that's what they're conditioned to do, and subconsciously they've begun associating a little bit of pain to their existing relationship, and they don't even realize they did this. It is actually comical to see this work. Some of you will actually do this, and you will see that it'll work, and you're going to get a little bit of a smirk on your face because you're going to be like, holy crap, this really did work. It does work because they don't even realize it's happening. So I beg you, if you do nothing else that I teach you today, do this, and it's going to help you engage more with realtors. So we start finding their pain. So if they give you something, you say, great, what else? What else, Bob? What are some of the other things? There's a thing that exists in the mortgage industry, which is a very, very powerful tool that we have at our disposal. The tool is that the process of getting a mortgage downright stinks. I am not saying that you stink. What I'm saying, you could be the greatest loan officer in the world and the borrower could be giving you praises at the end of it. But when's the last time a borrower said, hey, Ron, this was great. Could we do this again? No, the process of getting a mortgage, and now in post-TRID days, it's not a good experience. There's other words we could use to describe it, but I'm not going to do it on this webinar to keep the language clean. It's not a good experience. There's a force of pain that exists in our business. There's a force of pain that exists in buying a home. Use it to your advantage. Don't run away from it. Don't hide behind it. Use it as a leverage point to create conversation because people love to bitch and complain. People love to talk about their problems. We're conditioned that if somebody asks us about our problems, They're asking, they're showing us that they care. How is this conditioned? You go to the doctor. What does the doctor do? The doctor asks you about your pain. Why do we answer the doctor's questions? Because we believe in our minds that by answering these questions, the doctor is going to be able to help us. This is already conditioned into our psyche here. So all I'm doing is I'm teaching you something that's an everyday experience, going to the doctor and linking it to our business and showing you that it can have incredible power. I know I've been on this slide for a while because this is the key to everything that I've been talking about. So let me move forward. When they start talking about their pain, stir it up. So when the loan officer comes back and starts asking the borrower for more docs, how does that make you feel? Okay? Or when the realtor says, I didn't know what was going on with the transaction, how does that make you feel when it happens? You're stirring up the pain. You're stirring up the emotion. You could even, these are just examples. What does this cost you mentally or emotionally? Okay? How much time do you waste working with in this situation? There's so many different questions that you can ask, but what you're going to do, and this is where your instincts kicked in, they give you the pain, you're going to stir it up. Now, I am not suggesting you stir up every pain point because then you're going to just make them miserable that they're not even going to want to talk to anybody anymore. Who knows, they might even start handing in their resignation to you. But what you want to do is you want to just get them talking a little bit more, because if you're listening to them, they're going to connect with you. You don't want to get them into a frenzy. You just want to get them going a little bit because you're there to solve problems. By the way, if you want to know what we do for realtors, so many times when somebody starts coaching with me, so I'm going to give you one of the things that I work with all my clients right up front. They come to me, and these are I work with people who are not doing a lot of business and want to do a lot of business to people who are making over $1 million a year. But a lot of times people will come to me, loan officers, and they'll say, Ron, but I don't have anything to give. Let me explain to you what you give. You solve pain. You solve problems. That's the gift. You don't have to give the pads and the pens and all that other stuff. What you want to do is you solve problems, because there's nothing more valuable to a realtor than making their life easier, solving their problems, and making sure they get paid. That's the most important thing. Anybody who asks you for so much more than that is usually someone you don't want to do business, because I've always found that the realtors that hand out their hand the most are the ones that you want to do business with the least, because they're looking to get their money handed in your pocket because they're not good enough to put money in their pocket themselves. That's most of them. I'm from New York. This is something that's very, very prevalent in the city around Manhattan. So I'm very, very well there, and I travel the country training and coaching, and I see this in other parts of the country, so it may be in your backyard too. So we stir it up, okay? If they reference something about wasting time, say, what would you put the time towards if you didn't have to deal with this? Okay, remember, they're answering a question that they've lumped their loan officer into, even though they don't realize that they've done it, and that's where your opportunity is really growing. Step 4, present solutions. If you had a loan officer that did this, would it be of help to you? Don't start talking about what you do. Don't say, well, I don't do that. Let them give you what their objections and challenges are, and then you start doing them one by one, but you do it through questions. You start solving them one by one. So if they say, one of the biggest problems is I don't know what's going on with the loan because nobody's calling me. Well, would it help if you had a loan officer that scheduled updates with you at a minimum of twice a week to let you know what's going on with the loan? And they say, yeah, that would be wonderful. I say, great. And just out of curiosity, if a loan officer was doing that, would you want them to text it to you, email it to you, or call you? They're setting up rules of engagement with you, and they don't even realize they're doing that, because all they're doing is they're telling you what they want. But the way they tell you what you want is by you asking all the right questions. Okay? If a lender or LO made sure they did this, would you feel better about working with them? Again, these are questions that you're going to customize based upon what they told you their pain points are. Okay? If they start talking about, pre-approvals, we get pre-approvals that, they're not accurate. Okay? So how would you like to see a pre-approval done? How would you feel comfortable with a pre-approval? They tell you how they want the pre-approval done, which is basically not rocket science here. They're telling you that they want to make sure that everything is verified and that, nothing is missed. They're telling you what you're just going to give them what they've ordered. This is not hard to do, and I hope you're seeing just how easy this is. It really is that easy when you know the questions to ask and then listen to their responses. Too many times loan officers go into a presentation, Too many times loan officers go into a presentation with their agenda. They just want to get it all out. What I teach my clients and what I do in my own business is I ask questions because your answers will tell me everything I need to do to win you over. So you're talking about solutions, then, and if let's say you're talking to a manager of a realtor, you say, if I could show your whole team how to. One of the things that I used to do when I was originating, I was great at the 203K. I was a master at the 203K. Nobody was getting them done faster than I was getting them done because I had all the pieces aligned and I knew all the people involved that I could get everything done really quick. Well, if I was talking to a real estate manager, I'd say, let me ask you a question. Do you use the 203K? Yeah, here and there. And I say, what if I could show you how to get more listings with the 203K? They're like, listings? So I thought it's for the buyer. I said, I know. But what if I could show you and your team how to get more listings using the possibility of a 203K? Would that be something of a benefit to you? I never had a problem getting a group presentation because what did they want? They wanted more listings. Well, if they're getting more listings, then there's more open houses, there's more opportunities for buyers, there's more opportunity for me to be working with them. Okay? It doesn't have to be just what's right in front. There's a back door too. Okay? Number 5. Now you explain why you are the solution. And then you're going to ask a question, say, may I explain to you exactly how I work and what the benefits to you or your company are with the things that I offer? And then you're going to insert the solutions that they said they liked. So, for example, may I explain to you exactly how I communicate with you and the borrowers to make sure that you're never left in the dark? And then they're going to say yes, and I'll say, well, this is what I do. You're getting them to buy into your whole presentation, but the gift here is that they told you what you needed to say because you asked all the right questions. I hope this is making sense, and I hope my passion for this is coming through because I use this every single day, even in my coaching and training business. I use this every single day, not even teaching. I use it when I'm working with my clients to help me to help them. And I want you to understand that what your questions are doing is you're asking them questions to help you help them. It's not about you, it's about them. Hope this is making a lot of sense for you. Let me kind of wrap this up here. And it's number 6. I can't stress to you how important number 6 is about moving the relationship forward. There are so many loan officers that blow this over and over and over again. Moving the relationship forward is simply asking the realtor, how do you feel about what we've discussed so far? Remember, you've answered all their questions, their challenges, you've offered up solutions, you've gone through steps 1 through 5, and you broke their pattern and then went through steps 1 through 5, found the pain, offered the solution, showed them why you are the solution. So you got to say, how do you feel about what we've discussed so far? And they're going to say, oh, it sounds pretty good. This is where most loan officers leave the money on the damn table. They say, great, well, I'm really looking forward to doing business with you and I'll follow up with you. No, no, and no. Finish up with, excuse me, Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, what do you think our next step needs to be to keep our relationship moving forward? What do you think our next step needs to be? And see what they say. And they might give you something specific, or they might say, I don't know, what do you think it needs to be? And you want to be prepared for that question. And that question is going to be, or that response is going to be, well, would you like me to bring you this? So maybe you might give them something that gives them bullet points on 3 hot programs that you have that they can use about whatever to help get more people qualified. What I used to do is I'd say, well, our next step needs to be is to set up a time for one-on-one or a group presentation to show you how to use the 203K to get more listings. Or it would be anything. It could be to show them how to guarantee that their buyers are motivated and qualified at the same time. One of the things that you need to do is you need to study a little bit about how to be a successful realtor. It's great information for you to know because you can share with them strategies that will make their life easier. One of the things, and this, as much as a trainer and coach, it blows me away when I'm doing a group presentation to realtors. I will always teach them, and I teach this to loan officers as well. You cannot make a sale to a buyer or a borrower, but I'm going to talk about a buyer of a home. So I'm talking to you as if you're a realtor right now. You cannot make a sale to a buyer if they don't meet two criteria. One, if they're not motivated, and two, if they're not qualified. If either one of those is missing, the realtor is going to waste time with that potential buyer because that buyer is not motivated. The joke I always make is, you ask a buyer, so when do you need to be in a house? Well, whenever we're not in any real rush, we live at home with our parents, so we're just socking money away. If I'm a realtor, if I'm a loan officer and I'm talking to this person, I don't want that person. I want the person who lives at home and hates their parents. That's who I want. I want the person who's motivated to get the hell out of that house. Then I look as a loan officer, if they're qualified, great, I got someone who's motivated and qualified them. Let's get them moving. So what you want to do is you've got to find out what they want the next step to be so you can keep the relationship moving. If you don't do that, then what happens is you kind of leave, and as soon as you leave, it just fizzles out. There's no expectation of anything else. It's the same thing with networking. Okay, I'm not going to go into a networking presentation here, but in networking, people go to networking functions, they exchange cards, and then they can never get a hold of the person. It's because they did everything wrong other than saying hello. They did everything else wrong at the networking function, so they end up wasting a lot of time. You always, always, always have to move the relationship forward. Lasting thoughts. When prospects, let me just move this out of my way here. When prospects engage and agree with you on an emotional level, they are far more likely to use logic to justify their decision to move forward. Everything, if you follow the path that I've been presenting to you, you'll see that it's based in emotion. Then when you show them what you do, it's appealing to the logic side of them. It is so critical for you to put these two pieces together in the right order, and you will get so many more people who want to do business with you. I'm going to open it up to the questions. Dylan, are you on the line there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. I've seen a few coming in on my end. Have you had a couple of questions come into you as well?
Oh, we've had plenty of questions coming in.
Okay. What I'm going to do is, I want to wrap this up real quick, and then we're going to start addressing some of those questions that are here. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, there was one more bullet point. Emotion thinking creates momentum, which logic rarely does. Two quick things. Those of you that know me, I'm not big on sales pitches or what have you. If you've been thinking about getting a coach and you want to find out if I'm the right coach for you, go to rvistrategy.com and request a free introductory coaching session with me. Let's see how I can help you grow your business. That's what I do every single day, is help originators reach completely new heights in their business, and I help them do it very, very quickly. I'm a profit center. I'm not an expense. I always find things in people's businesses that they don't see that they can instantly turn into increased referral relationships, increased transactions, more sales, and a better way of doing business where their business is now under more control. The bottom line is it's about increasing profitability. So if you want to find out more about that, please, I urge you to take me up on a free introductory coaching session. The second thing is, this has been out there. We really don't have many seats left. I'm doing a very special event in San Francisco. There's only 32 people in the room. This is not a mega event. It's called Origination Breakthrough. It's taking place on Friday and Saturday, May 20th and 21st at the San Francisco Marriott Hotel Waterfront. Beautiful Marriott Hotel, been there many times. It's an ultra-private hands-on success event because only 32 of you will be there with me, and we're going to be working one-on-one together. It's not a mega event. This is not me lecturing for 2 days. It's about working your business and your model of how you want to grow your business. There's going to be over 25 high-impact, no-cost, low-cost lead generation strategies. Actually, there's 32 of them that you're going to learn. You're not going to do all of them, but you're going to learn not just what they are, you're going to walk away with exactly how to do them. There's no thinking involved. You'll have the letters, you'll have the scripts, you'll have the emails, you'll have everything that I give my private clients to implement so you can immediately start generating leads and realtor relationships and everything else. You'll have the complete system for getting more referral partners than you ever imagined possible without spending a dime on marketing. I'm going to show you some very simple strategies that'll explode your referral network. This ultimate agent presentation that I went through in basically about 30 minutes, we're going to spend half a day on having you master the presentation so you don't have to figure out how to do it. When you leave there, you're going to be able to walk into a meeting with a realtor and execute that presentation immediately and flawlessly. This is not one of the events that you just go and learn ideas and then go home and never do anything with it or have to figure it out. You're going to walk out of there. It's like if you've ever worked with a personal trainer at the gym, you actually do the workout. Well, this is the same thing. We're not going to talk about the workout you're going to do. You're actually going to do the workout right at the event. There's no event like this with only 32 people that exists in the mortgage industry. Everybody wants to fill rooms with hundreds of thousands of people. I don't do those anymore. I do very private, intimate events because I believe that that's how you really help people become successful. You're going to increase your lead conversion by 25% or more, and I'm going to show you how to overcome virtually any objection that any realtor or borrower would ever give you. I'm going to give you the secret to controlling your time like never before. And there's too much for me to talk about, but here's the deal. 100% money back guarantee. You can attend for a day and a half. So through lunch on the second day, Saturday. At the end of that day, if you say, that's it, I don't want my money back, you hand me your book and we'll issue your money basically the Monday after, the first business day, you'll have a credit to your account. No questions asked. In my whole history of all the programs I've ever done, I've had to give 2 refunds. I've been doing this since 1997. I can live with that, okay? The price for the event is $995. However, it was expiring April 30th, but I understand today's the 28th, and some of you may have to think about traveling. Once we're out of seats, though, we're out of seats. And they're basically about half, last check, I think they're half gone. Using the code of NMP, you can save $200. It's $795. You can stay at the Marriott. You can drive to the event. There's plenty of hotels in the area based upon your budget, whatever you want to do. But $795, money back guarantee. If you even want to space it out over 2 events and you're committed to 2 months, your payments, reach out to me directly and I'll work that payment plan out with you. That's how committed I am to having people who are serious about growing their business. There will be top producers. We already have top producers registered for the event, and we have some people that have been in the business about a year. So it's a full spectrum, but everybody's going to walk away with an incredible opportunity to grow their business. So if you're interested, go to originationbreakthrough.com. You can read all about the event, and you can register right on the website. So that's it for that. Dylan, we've got a few minutes here. What are some of the questions that you got?
All right, so we've had quite a few coming in. One of these from James says, when an agent says they are already working with someone, what happens if they don't let you ask any more questions?
Well, we covered, and I'm assuming, James, thanks for the question. We covered that, what to say when they do that. Remember, if you set up the meeting with the agent, why would they say, no, you can't ask any more questions? If you go in and rudely go into an office and say, hey, my name is Ron Bainberg, I'm here, I want to tell you what I do, can I ask you some questions? I would say no to you. So if you have an appointment, they're going to allow you to ask the questions. It's a great question, but you got to understand how the process works. And that process allows you automatically to be able to ask those questions. Great question. Next question.
Okay, so this one is from Deanna. It says, what do I do if I am not good at making small talk with agents?
Deanna, honestly, I'm really not good at making small talk either. Again, this is one of the things I talk to my clients about all the time. They say, I don't know how to make small talk. I don't know how to talk about, the jerseys and all this other stuff. You're looking to develop a business relationship. I know there's a lot of courses out there that say, oh, it's a beautiful this and a beautiful that. Honestly, I don't subscribe to any of that because I've set up a business meeting. I want to respect your time. Now, I might make a comment, say, hey, that's a nice poster or whatever it is, maybe ask a question, but that's all I'm doing. I want to get to business because when I set up the appointment with someone, it was about business. It wasn't about anything else. So making small talk, don't worry about the small talk. Just worry about your presentation, and if there's something for you to make a comment about, great. If not, it's as simple as saying, hey, I just really want to thank you for allowing me the time to meet with you, and I certainly want to respect your time. That's the perfect lead-in for you to be able to go right into your presentation. Next one.
All right, Stephen had a question that I saw a few people had asked. He asked, do you offer a complete template on the questions to ask for this presentation?
I do, and the only way that you get them is either you're working with me as a private client or you attend an event like this. It's not something that I give out for free because that would just devalue what I have to offer. It's also not just about having the questions, it's knowing about how to use the questions. I would encourage you that if you really want to have the full presentation and really know how to use it, then you either want to seek me out as possibly working as your coach, or the fastest way to get it is Origination Breakthrough. Okay. Any others on your end?
We got one more over here. It says it's from Max, and it says, how do I even get the appointment with agents to do this presentation?
I'm sorry, what was his name, Max?
Yes, and it says, how do I even get the appointment with agents in order to do this presentation?
Okay. Max, I have a feeling you may have logged on a little bit late to our webinar. There was a previous webinar. Actually, Dylan, when we send out where they can get to view this webinar, again, can we also give them a link to view the one 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that the one that was done 2 weeks ago, which was all about how to get the appointment, you'll have access to that webinar also. I didn't cover that in this webinar, but it was covered 2 weeks ago in a previous webinar. Okay. Got just a couple of minutes here. Let me see what I've got on my screen here. There are a lot of questions that came in. Let me just, okay, a lot of you are saying hello, so I do appreciate that. Copy the presentation. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. Okay, we answered that. Can you send a copy of the PowerPoint at the end? You're going to get a link to the presentation and the PowerPoint. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody gave the objection. This is a good one. This is Ed. Ed, thank you for this. He said that he gets a lot of realtors that say that my deals are all cash deals. Say, great. Do you primarily focus working with buyers or on listings? Okay. Most people are going to default to that they work with listings because they're used to using that to blow you off also. So they say, great. Can I ask you a little bit about how you do your open houses? And you can start working your way into working with them on open houses. Quite frankly, you can't call BS on them because that's not going to be a good rapport builder. But what you can do is you can basically redirect the conversation to, okay, great. It's wonderful that you do it this way. Do you work with listings? Great. So now you're trying to clamp onto working with buyers. Don't get caught up in the people trying to get rid of you. Don't allow them to do that. Okay. Are we going to get a dialogue that you said along with the slide presentation? Okay. Well, you're going to have access to this webinar. Is the first webinar available? We got that. Okay. Email to us. Okay. Answered that. A lot of the same questions. Okay. So a few people are asking me about reviewing the Ninja question. You're going to have to, I don't really have time to do that right now, but you're going to have access to the copy of the webinar. So you just go back there and get your notes on that again. Melanie, how do you repair a negative reputation from other offices attempting to sabotage you by untruthful rumors? Wow. Um, Melanie, that's not a simple answer. I'd have to know what's being said, how it's being said, and there's always a way to do it, but it's not, that's something, and I hate to say this, Melanie, I'm not doing a hard sell, but that would be like something that somebody would bring to my attention at the program or a coaching client, and then I would be able to show them how to do it, but there'd be a whole bunch of questions I'd have to ask you first in order to be able to uncover that for you. I know I could, but I would just have to know more about it. The question, how can I get the presentation is, are we going to get the dialogue? Okay. Okay, said the appointment be available. Okay, a lot of this, I think we were just about through all the questions. Okay, I walked away for a second. Problems they've had when not working with LO. Yeah, they're all may not have those problems. Okay, Jeff, you and I welcome this. You challenged my ninja strategy where I said that when they're responding to the challenges that they have, that they're talking about the other LOs. I'm well aware of that, but I never separated the two. I combined them into a question, and if they answer the question, they're combining the two. I've never had in my whole life ever have a realtor say, well, my LO doesn't do this, but all the others do. No, they just answer the question, and that's where the link is created in the ninja strategy. Okay, 2% are lawyers. Okay, I'll repeat that one. Okay. Okay. That's pretty much all the questions. A lot of them were repeats about where you get the webinar and what have you. We're going to send you the links. Bottom line is, we had just under 1,000 people on this webinar today. I'm very excited. This is such a hot topic. I'm looking forward to being able to help either any of you through a free introductory coaching session, or I know I've seen through my email on my other system here, already people making inquiries about the Origination Breakthrough event. So if it's something you're seriously considering, there are no more seats than 32. That's all the room will hold. I will not ask for a bigger room at the hotel, because once I go beyond that, I cannot handle the crowd the way I want to handle them. So if you're seriously interested in about that, through May 5th or through when the event sells out, you can come in for $795. Dylan, thank you so much for being part of this program today. By the way, many of you have heard that Ron Vaimberg International, my company, and National Mortgage Professional have combined to create NMP University. This is a company that is designed to provide the highest level training and coaching to loan officers, account executives, managers, sales managers, company owners, and we're going to be offering so many different levels of services that we'll get that information out to you. This all happened just a couple of weeks ago. This is our second webinar together, and there's many more things that'll be coming. So I just want to thank you for being here today. Want to wish you all the best, and look forward to meeting and working with some of you. Take care, everybody. Thanks again, Dylan.
Thank you, Ron. And I just want to also, from National Mortgage Professional, say thank you to you, Ron Vaimberg International. Thank you to the attendees for joining us on this NMP University webinar. And just to reiterate one more time, we are going to send out a copy of the PowerPoint and a recording of the webinar tomorrow, or at the latest by Monday. And if you have any questions, you can email us. You can email Ron at ronv@nmpmediacorp.com. And we look forward to seeing you on the next NMP University webinar.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, Ron.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.